Most barbers take the fade up too high on kids by underestimating the head shape and size. In this video, I'm going to show you the steps that I take in order to give my client a mid skin fade without taking it too high. So be sure to stick around so that you do not miss the final results, as well as follow along for gems as I go step by step. First, I went in by combing the hair, but as you can see, now that everything's lifted off of the scalp, I'm going in with the lever completely closed. And my thought process here is just to keep it a little dark around the C-cup area, as you can see, towards the edge of the hairline. Give it a little arch over the top of the ear, but drop it again towards the back, following the shape of his head. Keeping a consistent guideline through and through so that everything after this is consistent. Now I'm going up with the lever completely open, setting in my next guideline again, following that with about an inch going up, and now I'm just gonna make that same consistency with my next line. Again, I'm using light pressure, and now I'm going in with the lever completely open with that number 1 guard, and that's gonna be my third guideline. From here, I'm keeping in mind what guard I'm gonna stop at the top, at the very top of his head. And now I'm in that parietal ridge and the occipital bone area. And those are just the bones that protrude on the side and the back of the head. As you can see, this is the occipital bone towards the back and the parietal ridge right here on the side. Keeping in mind that I don't wanna go up over that. So while I still have on the 1 guard, I'm gonna close up the lever right up under that, and I'm not going no higher than where I went with the lever completely open. And now I'm gonna slowly but surely soften up the line that I put in with the lever completely open with no guard at all. That's right up under that 1 guard. And now I know it's not taking it out, but I'm just gonna slowly soften it up so that when I come back to it, it's easier to take it out. Here I'm going in with the 1.5 guard, and that's the very last guard that I'll use in this fade. And that's typically the guard that you'll finish off with any wavelength haircut at the very top. And that 1 guard open is gonna be able to allow me to tie into the length that I got on top. And so now that I've set in all of my guidelines, I'm smoothing in the very top so that I can blend from the fade into the actual style on top. And I don't want to have any harsh lines at the very top at this point. I'm now just using the shape of the head to go off of that and blend into this one. So now I can go in with my 1 guard with the lever completely closed, and that should blend in perfectly to whatever is on the sides at this point. Now that everything's down to that 1 desired length on top, I'm gonna go in and start working from the top to the bottom. So now I'm going in with the 1 guard with the lever halfway, and I'm working in between that 1.5 and the 1 guard open. And so now this is detailing out those darker spots using the corner of the blade if necessary, as well as in just debulking the top without putting in any hard lines. And a lot of barbers ask the question that, why is my fade look blurry on one side only? And that's just because of the guidelines that you set in. So as you set in guidelines, you want to create a consistent stroke, meaning the pressure, as well as in the distance that you go up, getting in a rhythm that makes it comfortable but more relaxed for you. But also setting in guidelines soft but noticeable, because each guard cuts off more hair or less hair. So in this case, going up with the numbers, we're taking off less as you go up. And as we're coming back down, you're going to take off more, so you want to be a little more careful. And so this is when you'll use the corner of the blade or your detail, because when you're setting in your guidelines, you want to actually set in a consistent line. And now you're not as consistent, but you want to detail using the corner or the blade or less pressure as you're coming down, because you don't want to run the risk of taking off too much. And now I'm just detailing in between guards, because now I can manipulate the blend however I want, but also knowing that the top is at its length and the bottom is at its length. And so now that I'm going down, I can identify the darker areas and just detail as necessary. Here I'm going in with the 0 or the 0.5 guard or the half guard, whatever. And now I got the lever closed, and I'm detailing that line that's over top of no guard with the lever completely open. And now I'm just taking out that second to last line, slowly but surely just detailing it. Another question I've heard is, why do I keep making dark spots? And the Could be just because you're moving guidelines too close together and not spacing them out enough, giving yourself enough room to work in, or you're not fully removing the previous guideline before you advance to the next guideline. And so you want to just be cautious with that without moving on too quick. You do want to make sure that you take the first guideline out first so that you can actually see that it's blended out before you go down and start taking off too much. If you really want to know how to make a fade smooth, it's all in the pressure. And so if you notice the pressure that you use at certain points of the fade, it will determine what dark spots you put in or take out, because it allows you to manipulate the blend. And so here at the bottom, I'm taking out that very bottom line. And so I'll go in halfway. But if you remember before, I set in a big enough window to give myself room to go up just about halfway through that line, from under that line and flicking through that line and going up about halfway, just to take out the very bottom and erase as much as possible before I go down and close it up one notch or close it up completely and finish erasing that bald line. But as you can see here also, I'm stretching the skin, giving my clippers room to go through these hairs and dark spots, and using the corner of the blade, just slice out any darkness that is not wanted there without putting in an extra hard line. I'm just using light pressure and manipulating the darkness, essentially controlling the fade. Here on this side, same exact steps, but I'm gonna show you another reason why your fade could come out different on each side. And that's because of the shape of the head or any indentations that makes the hair appear darker in certain areas. Here I skipped the 1 guard with the lever halfway in between the 1.5 guard and the 0 guard, and just went straight to that 0 guard with the lever fully open. And now I know that it's not going to take out that line, but I know also that there's indentations here that the 1 guard wouldn't be able to get out. And so I wanted to go straight to that half guard and use the corner of the blade and just use lighter pressure so that I can manipulate that dark spot while transitioning into the one that I used earlier. Now I'll close the lever and slowly erase the line made by no guard lever open. You have to do this slowly in order to preserve the fade. This is where you'll notice dark spots, and you can also easily create a new dark spot. Lever halfway here, and using the corner of the blade, I will start under the line and flick through the line, only going up halfway in the window that was set with the second guideline with the lever completely open. And so, in other words, the first line or the bald line, I'm looking to slowly get rid of it. And with the lever completely fully open, I'll go up as needed and detail any dark spots over top of that I could take out that couldn't get out with the 1 or the half guard. And just use lighter pressure as you go up higher in the blend. When doing the lineup, I'm gonna find the darkest point on the C cup at the top and the very bottom, and then I'm gonna connect the two. remind you how my client came in looking, and as his barber, it's my job to execute at a high level and give him exactly what he came for. This is the final results, and if you like this video, you learned anything, please share this video with a friend, family member, or fellow barber. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell. My name is Kel, and I'll catch you in the next one.